of the creeps with the Ancient of War. This takes a little bit of multitasking, but you will notice, like, this is sort of a thing you should pick up on, is, he did get that creep kill, which is rather Gosu in terms of multitasking, but his panda and stuff were just running. So, basically what he does with his Death Knight, or his Demon Hunter, is he sort of runs around, and as long as there aren't ghouls there, your Demon Hunter's not in trouble. If there is a Lich, that's another thing, but generally if they're going gargoyles, they're going to wait until they hit level 4, at least. Or they're going to try and hit tier 3. There's a few different instances in which they will get a Lich, and one of them happens to be if you just spam archers. So, he has gotten level 3. It's a very quick way to creep it. Just the 2 greens, the orange over there, which he crept with his Ancient of War, and then the gold mine. And you'll notice he used Drunken Haze, just so he takes even less damage on his panda. That's just an important thing to do, because if you are out of moon juice, like you've made some mistakes in the game, this way your panda's not like 0 HP going into a battle. Now what he's going to be doing is he's going to be trying to set up an expo, and at this point in the game, this is also another crucial point. This is the 50 food portion of the game, and basically what you want to do is not only make sure that you don't lose too many units in this battle, but you also want to make sure that you're picking off more units than he is. Because you'll notice he did get a Wisp Deadoed. Sometimes you're going to lose it. If you're not on like a land situation, that will probably die. So don't be like, oh no, I didn't Deado a Wisp, I'm in trouble. It happens. So really what is going to happen is the Undead's going to start pulling his ghouls towards his army, and then he's going to make a 50 food push. You'll notice he's at 48 food. 50 food is pretty similar. He's one gargoyle behind, no big deal. And really what he's going to be doing in this battle is, notice he uses the Breath of Fire first, and then he uses Drunken Haze on the gargoyles. Now he's just going to be running basically his archers and his dryads away from the ghouls, and then he's going to be focusing down on the gargoyles. So, you'll notice he's using stone form, you might as well ignore them then. And what's going to end up happening is you don't want to use your staff on dryads unless you have a second staff on your panda, because something like that might happen. A surrounded panda. So he staffs the panda, and he sort of runs away a little bit. And what he has done with this battle is he has reduced the number of gargoyles that are running about. His dryads do outnumber the gargoyles, so he's in good shape there. Plus his panda's got plenty of health. And you'll notice that when he used the Drunken Haze, and pretty much all undead players will do this, is that he didn't use Stone Form to get rid of it right away. Most people will use Stone Form to try and dodge Breath of Fires and the damage over time that a Breath of Fire and Drunken Haze will deal. So what he's done is he's used it just to keep his units alive a lot better. He has kept the damage output by just using Breath of Fire on the ghouls, so that's always an important point, is that he is still using his Breath of Fire, but he's also using his Drunken Haze a little better and a little more cautiously. And you'll notice that Bly still only has 5 gargoyles, and he's just gotten his Lich. Oh, he's got 7, my bad. But you'll notice that he has an equal amount of dryads. And that's really the one thing that you want to do in this matchup until you get your Tree of Life up, obviously, which is when you're going to be, and by Tree of Life I mean your Expo, which is when you want to be switching to Hippogriffs as well, and sort of mixing up that army. So generally, if you beat, well, I'm not going to say most players will do this, but most good players that know what they're doing will do this, is that once they lose a gargoyle fight, they're going to stop producing gargoyles, and they're going to start going with sort of an A-bomb wagon strategy. Some people will just go wagons with ghouls, some people will just go abominations. It depends on the player. So he's not going to get this Lich kill, which is unfortunate, but he will force a healing scroll, just to keep it alive. I wouldn't have wasted the healing scroll. I would have actually let it die, just because it's 170 food. I mean, his panda's already level 3. Like, really, it can't get much more dangerous until it hits level 5. He loses a Dryad, which is a bummer, because that's a lot of wood to lose. and you really just don't want to let units get picked off. And that's basically what this whole matchup is about. Well, it's basically what every matchup is about, but specifically in Night Elf against Undead, it's a lot harder to recover once you start going downhill that way. And you'll notice he is going to continue with his harass, with his Death Knight, with his Demon Hunter, and his Panda, and he's basically going to allow himself to get his expansion up. And the other thing he's doing is he's also preventing the Death Knight, I do mean the Death Knight this time, from getting level 5, and also from letting the Lich get level 3. And this basically allows you to keep your heroes alive. That's really all it's doing right now. And you'll notice Blythe hasn't really done much with his gargoyles because Thomas has actually kept him busy. He's been setting up expos, he's been sort of forcing battles when he needs to, and he's been creepjacking. He's been proactive about this, because you'll notice the gargoyles haven't gone towards his base without either getting scouted or without, they've just been under pressure. And that's really what you want to do to your opponent. And it all relies on the 50 food battle that happens. So basically, if you play it the way Thomas did, and you play it defensively as opposed to aggressively just going for an all-out win in the battle, you're usually better off just because, A, you're not taking the risk of, well, if I lose this, I'm screwed for the rest of the game, and B, you're doing it that way so that you can sort of maintain just some leverage and some map control. Plus, it would suck to lose units. So he does have an orb on both of his heroes. That's usually what I do against people who go gargoyles. I usually switch into bears a little quicker, but in this case he's gotten an expansion up, and really he did that by just maintaining the map control. He hasn't really researched anything yet. I usually research Dryad armor. That's usually the most important thing to do, because your damage output is mainly coming from your Panda and your heroes. Your Dryads are more of a slow poison to damage a bunch of gargoyles at the same time, and they're not as much to pick off units as they are to sort of distract from heroes. So a Frosty has now popped, and you'll notice that Thomas isn't really concerned about it, not only because he has no bears, but also because he's also transitioned into Hippogriff. Now, this is sort of a dangerous point in the game, because if you do start over-spamming on Hippogriff, you're going to be in trouble. So, wow, Bly is actually creeping out a rep camp with 2 heroes. That's good for him. So you'll notice he put the Staff of Teleportation on the Panda. Basically, when you're done harassing with your Demon Hunter, this is what you do. For several reasons. One, you can stop gargoyles from messing with your base too much. And 2, if you do actually staff your Panda out of the battle like it's about to die, then you can Staff of Teleportation him back in with full everything. So you're basically in good shape for the rest of the battle as well. So it's good for a few things. You'll notice he got a couple gargoyle kills. That's just Bly being a little careless, but also because he doesn't really need his gargoyles anymore. He has transitioned into meat wagons. He's sitting at low upkeep right now, and this is what a lot of undead players will do. They'll sit at 50 food because they know you can't actually enter their base without like 90 food, or without bears. So then they're going to stay at 50 food until they can break into like 100. So they'll do it very quickly,